Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to a preview of a Mr. Pandaria beta heroic dungeon, namely the Temple of the Jade Serpent. First off, before we start off with anything, I want to point out this is beta footage, and as such is subject to change. So only take away the basic elements of the fight, and keep in mind, beta is beta. Alright, with that said, let's get started. First boss, depending on your preference, going left or right. If you go left, you run into Wise Mari, which is the water speaker of this temple. The Wise Mari is corrupted and will periodically summon corrupted living waters towards you. He will in total summon 4 of them. In the meanwhile, he will also channel corrupted water around him, making the water sprout up and deal damage to you should you be near it. I want to point out that since there's a very large back area to the boss, we just stood there and tanked every single elemental there and took no damage from that water whatsoever. After defeating the 4 corrupted water elementals, Wise Mari himself will become active, and he will start channeling a torrent of water. Should you stand in this torrent of water, you will take 150k damage each second you take damage from it, so try and avoid it. As you can also see in this short video here, if you stand in the water around the Wise Mari, you will start taking damage, and if you continue to stand in it, you'll take a lot of damage. So try jumping between the platforms. As you can see here, I'm trying to keep ahead of the water, staying right behind the torrent instead of in front of it, giving me more lenience should I tend to screw up the encounter. Otherwise, there's not much more to him than on normal, honestly. I figured there would be some sort of other mechanic, but there doesn't appear to be currently in a beta. Again, it's all subject to change, so after punting about the boss a bit, you will get your loot. The next boss in this encounter is going to be Lorewalker Stonestep. After clearing Little Gauntlet with several named mobs, which among is a talking fish in a bubble, which is very amusing, you will run into Lorewalker Stonestep in front of a small cauldron corrupting by Sha. After destroying the cauldron, you will begin... The older objects around the library is going to be sucked into the cauldron and explode, and 5 giant suns are going to appear. In addition, the tail of Zhao Sunwalker, or Sunseeker, I believe the name is, will appear, and after a short RP session, the 4 small suns will become active. They all have around 700k health each on heroic as of this moment, and killing each of them will summon a haunting Sha creature, which has to be picked up by the tank and killed down. For the sake of tactics, I would assume that it's probably a best idea to DPS 1 sun down at a time and take care of the Sha. But our tank seems to have no problem picking up all 4 and tanking them and AoEing them down immediately. After all 4 of the Haunting Shas has been DPS down, the small black pools that the 4 suns left on the ground will become Haunting Shas, taking control of Zhao Sunseeker. It's now your job to kill him. Right now he only has a single ability called Hellfire Arrows, where he shoots madly at his perceived enemies, inflicting 52k fire damage to random enemies. This only means that your healer kinda have to be on her toes, his or her toes, sorry, in order to not wipe the group. Then again, at the current moment of time, the damage doesn't seem to be that great, and was easily tankable and healable. After a short jog and a little gauntlet event, you'll be faced with Liu Flameheart. She has a couple of abilities that changes depending on the stance she's in. She starts off with a normal stance, where she will do a couple of abilities. The first one will be the Serpent Strike, which is a debuff, a fire debuff, a magic debuff, on the primary target. This debuff is dispellable and will do a large amount of fire damage on the target if it is not dispelled immediately. In addition, she will also have the Serpent Wave, where she will summon 4 flame waves and send them in separate directions. In addition, she will also do a Serpent Kick, which will knock back the tank slightly. After a couple of moments into fight, she will jump into the Jade Serpent dance. Each of her attacks now has an additional effect. As you can see, the Jade Serpent Wave now leaves fire damage on the floor that people have to avoid. The Jade Serpent Strike also leaves another debuff on the tank this time, which will have to be healed through. The Jade Serpent kick still knocks back the tank. Upon reaching 30% remaining health, she enters a trance, making herself invulnerable and summoning the spirit of Yu Long to defend her in battle. Yu Long only has one ability at this time, where he breaches a ball of fire at a random player, creating a pool of jade fire at their location, inflicting a lot of fire damage if you keep standing in it. So move out the fire. Easy peasy. After a small mod pack, you will jump into the last boss, which is the Sha of Doubt. Now, the Sha of Doubt has very few abilities and is not a complex fight at all, not even on beta. The Sha of Doubt has an ability called Wither Will, where he will wither the will of 2 random players, inflicting a rough 50k shadow damage to the target. He will also do an ability called Touch of Nothingness. The Sha of Doubt will seep a profound sense of nothingness into the minds of a random player, and the doubt causes the player to periodically inflict 30k shadow damage to every nearby player every 2 seconds, but is dispellable. The Sha of Doubt will also use Figments of Doubt, where the Sha of Doubt forces all players to face a figment of their own doubt, and itself will become invulnerable. The best way to deal with these is to simply group up, AoE them down, and back on the boss. Should the figments gather 100% energy, they will unleash an explosion, causing 75k shadow damage, and heal the Sha of Doubt for 10% of its total health. We didn't run into any problems whatsoever during this encounter, and neither should you. Overall, I think the dungeon is very interesting. It's nice to see new fights. Of course, it's new content, so there's always new ways to tackle content, there's new ways of experiencing. But I think the base concept that they have going right now in the Temple of the Jade Serpent is really good, and I really hope they expand on some of the ideas. For example, removing the back area on Wise Mario so it's not as easy to tank the ads, and you'll be forced to run around the little circle and keep taking damage from the erupting water and so forth. Small things that need to tune the fights to be a little bit better. Of course, beta is beta, so the damage, the health, everything basically is subject to change. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you like it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more heroic videos of previews of the beta. I'll try and get as many out as possible, but again, the beta is almost coming to a close soon, so it's only a matter of time before we actually know how much time we have left. Anyways guys, that was it from me. My name's been Relaxation. Until next time, we'll see you in the mists.